What is the deal with Nakobe Dean? I've had some comments kind of pop up here and on opposite sides of things from the perspective of the fan base here and kind of what they think about the whole Nakobe Dean situation and why he's not playing. So I want to talk about this for a few minutes. What's up, Cerebral football fans? My name is Steven Hyder. This is Gate City Sports Channel. Hey, if you're new to the channel, this will be the first, second, third time you caught my content and you enjoyed today's discussion. Look, we're on a journey. We're on a path. We just crossed over 6,600 subscribers. We're heading towards 7,500 subscribers. I would love for you to be a part of that equation and join the Cerebral football community. Just need you to hit that subscribe button to do that. To my OG subscribers, hat in hand, I'm here to ask you that favor, guys. Hit that thumbs up button. Smash the like button. Help me spike the algorithm and get this in front of new people. We can potentially convert to our little audience here on the YouTube. All right, y'all. Today's topic is about Nakobe Dean. We were all pretty excited when we drafted Nakobe Dean. We didn't see it coming, right? A lot of early projections, and let's be mindful, we're talking about early projections, had him in the first round. As we got a couple days outside of the draft, we started hearing it's probably not a first-round selection. It's probably going to be later and later into the draft. It ended up being kind of surprising, right, for the average fan base, for the average fans following the draft. We didn't see it being as a late third, but we definitely knew that there was a shot he was not going first round. But obviously for NFL organizations, they had his health records. They had things on par. This wasn't a surprise to them. I mean, their evaluations are their evaluations. With that said, I was super pumped when they got Nakobe Dean in the third round. I'm not going to sit here and act like I wasn't. I thought that was a really good selection, and I thought that showed a commitment we often don't see from the front office here at the linebacker position. And it was just such a pleasant surprise to walk away with Jordan Davis and A.J. Brown in the first round, right? Leverage another pick for 2023, which is looking real sweet right now. It's in the top 10. And then on top of that, you got Cam Jurgens in the second round, and you got Nakobe Dean in the third round. I got to be honest with you, that was one heck of a draft class from my perspective going into this. But as Nakobe Dean hasn't really got a chance to get onto the field, we've seen two views kind of shaping here in Philadelphia, and it's weird because I'm kind of stuck in the middle. The first viewpoint really comes from, this idea, and I've seen a few of you guys express this in the comment section, that, they really need to pull Kaiser White off the field. They need to pull T.J. Edwards off the field a little bit more and play Nakobe Dean some. And to credit most of you guys aren't saying that, like, Nakobe Dean is a better player right now in this moment than Kaiser White or T.J. Edwards. Most of us realize that Kaiser White and T.J. Edwards are better football players than Nakobe Dean right now. With that said, I will say that there's a few of you guys who are really you're pretty much beating the table saying that, like, hey, man, can we please get Nakobe Dean on the field and play a little bit here? Like, there is a long-term projection to this, and we need to be mindful of the long-term projection. And when I think what bothers you is when we're up in games and they start bringing in the reserves, you're seeing, like, guys like maybe Sean Bradley and others getting those reps over Nakobe Dean. And it's kind of like, are we maybe missing the forest for the trees as a coaching staff in the front office when we evaluate what we do in those moments? Maybe that's a moment where you should be playing the guy who's got a long-term projection here in Philadelphia to potentially be a pivotal piece of the defense. And that I'm not going to try to defend. I'm with you. Like, that is definitely a forest for the trees moment. Like, hey, man, you kind of need to get Nakobe Dean worked into those type of game situations. Where I think I deviate from the situation is when we talk about just for the sake of pulling Kaiser White and the sake of pulling T.J. Edwards off the field just to play Nakobe Dean. I'm not with you on that one. Those guys have done a heck of a job. This is not an indictment on the development or the talent level of Nakobe Dean. It's just that we got a very good linebacking core. Sean Bradley is pretty good. He's a guy inside this rotation, right? And then you got Kaiser White, who is a really good coverage linebacker. And I know, guys, that PFF doesn't have him graded well. We got to keep in mind, while grades from PFF and organizations like that are impartial, so these are impartial viewpoints about the situation, I also think they're highly flawed at times too. And they don't account for who you're lined up against and what that means to your defense. Case in point, how many organizations are going to be trustworthy of a linebacker matched up on CeeDee Lamb?
Lamb got 8. Elliott is the back. Rush's first throw is knocked down.
That's not happening very often. That's the level of faith the Eagles have in, Kaiser White as a coverage linebacker. So to me, sometimes those things are not always inclusive of the full, perspective of things, if you will. So with that said, Kaiser White, in my opinion, has played he's played some pretty dang good snaps here in Philadelphia, man. I think that was a heck of a signing in the offseason. I just think it's something we're not familiar with. We're not in normal, this is not normal territory for us, right? To have depth at the linebacker position, and it's full of talent on top of it. It's not something we're used to, right? So we all came in here thinking like, this is the Eagles. A guy like Nakobe Dean's probably going to get a shake and a run at things before too long. And if you remember, if you go back to all the live casts, we had the big Super Eagles podcasters when it was me and LB and Philly 500 and Philly Mike. It was Reese. Simone with the sports was there. Joe Castro was there. Like, we had this huge panel. And I warned everybody. That I didn't think Nakobe Dean was going to crack the lineup, very often early in games. I didn't see that. Now, by this point, I did think that we'd see him more often than what we're seeing him. But I was a little hesitant and tried to pump the brakes. Everybody say, yo, chill out. He's an off-ball linebacker. It's going to be a tough thing to crack the lineup here in Philadelphia. With that said, I've seen the other side of the fan base now. There's another side of this fan base that's saying, like, hey, man, maybe we overhyped him a little bit. Maybe people didn't realize there's a reason why these other 31 teams kind of gave it a pass, through 2 rounds. 32 teams gave him a pass through 2 rounds. And, you keep going, there's a handful of guys, 20-some teams that gave a pass in, round 3 as well. So maybe there's something more that we're missing here when it comes to Nakobe Dean. I will say this. Look at Jason Kelce and how many organizations passed over him 5 times. You know what I mean? 32 organizations passed over him, 5 times, guys. What was he, 6th-round pick? Sometimes organizations get things wrong. And I think Nakobe Dean organizations got things wrong because there are teams in the NFL that will remove linebackers off of their board that are under 6'2" in measurement. It is purely a physical stature standpoint for them. It has nothing to do with their instincts, their play speed, any of that stuff. It is a physical limitation where they pull them off the board. So we have to keep that stuff in mind, right? And I'm saying this about Jason Kelce because I'm pretty sure there was a lot of teams that said the same thing about Jason Kelce. It had nothing to do with his, game speed, his IQ on that football field, technique, or any of that. It had to do with his size. So that's why I brought that comparison in. The late round, the size, all that stuff kind of coming together. So to me, I pumped the brakes on that one. I'm not right there with you guys yet. I think that it's entirely too early to make judgments on his career. I don't think it's an indictment that he hasn't been playing, right? I don't think it has anything to do with his development or talent level. I just think it's circumstance, and it's one heck of a circumstance to be an Eagle fan. I think it might be helpful to really discuss Nakobe Dean's role on this football team. Like, what is Nakobe Dean's role? Like, why spend a 3rd-round pick on this linebacker, right? Why did the Eagles do that? Simply put, I'm just going to tell you from film study, watching all 8 games, how they utilized them. And we're talking about 4 to 6 snaps, depending on where you go look at it. I personally only counted 5 snaps. I've seen some places count 4, I've seen some places count 6. I got him logging snaps in Houston, 1 in Pittsburgh. I got him logging snaps in Detroit. Now, in terms of the package they use him in games, it is very specific from what I saw to goal line defense. They use him at the goal line. He is part of a heavy kind of goal line run package they bring in where they play 3 linebackers, which is, T.J. Edwards, Kaiser White, and Nakobe Dean are all in the game together, and they also play up with their safeties, right? They seem to mostly swap C.J. Gardner-Johnson off the field to put Kevon Wallace in that situation. They have Epps in there, and they go heavy along the D-line, okay? So he's part of that goal line package that we run here in Philadelphia. The other thing you see a lot of, from him playing is he plays a lot on special teams. I mean, he's a contributor on kick coverage, kick return, punt coverage, punt return. I mean, field goal and extra point. Like, he plays a lot on special teams. Like, there's a lot going on here. And I know for a lot of you guys, this is not a satisfying answer. I'm just stating the obvious facts from watching the film, guys. But I will tell you is that we don't seem to like to play younger guys on defense a whole lot. Guys that haven't had any experience in the system yet. And I know this is frustrating because you guys are looking at the film and you're seeing like, dude, they brought Marvin Wilson up from the practice squad, and that dude logged like 19 snaps playing the nose tackle spot last week off the practice squad. 2nd year in the system, though, guys, right? Zach McPherson playing on the outside when that goes down. A lot of that is opportunity, though, because guys will miss some snaps here and there. He's got to come in to fill in the void there, right? Josiah Scott's already got some reps in the system. Once again, 2nd year in the system, just like Zach McPherson, also due to circumstance of injury, okay? I know you guys are probably looking at guys like Tui Pelotu, Marlon Tui Pelotu. He's been playing quite a bit this season. 2nd year in the system, part of the rotation on the defensive line, right? Patrick Johnson, 2nd year in the system, in the rotation, if you will, right, on the outside. You look at guys like Milton Williams, second year in the system, part of the rotation, but also a third-round pick that played more than Nakobe Dean his rookie season. I am taking note of that one, to be honest. Most of these guys, Kevon Wallace, second year in the system, third year with the organization, he's getting some run. He's getting some play. I know, I get what's going on, guys. You're looking at this and you're going, Gate, make this make sense, man. I don't think that they feel comfortable with his knowledge over the system yet. I think once his knowledge over the system is at a level of comfort with them, you'll see a little bit more in-game situations, especially when we're up in games and we just need to give guys breaks and breathers. The other side of this I want to point out real quick, guys, is that one way that I thought we had success stopping the run last week with Jordan Davis out of the game is when we played a 52 front. 5 down linemen with 2 linebackers on the field. It's really a 43 adaptation, but you're going with those overhangs and it turns into a 52. When we did that with the heavy linebacker rotations, we actually had some success stopping the run. I would like to see more of that over the big nickel and the giant dime, where you start bringing in 3 safeties. So either with 5 defensive backs or 6 defensive backs. That's the difference between big nickel and giant dime. All right? I would like to personally see those things implemented. Personally. I would like to see more 52 over the big nickel and the giant dime. If you do that in the Nakobe Dean game's familiarity with the system, I think you're going to see him play more. That's my opinion on this. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all's time and attention. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. And I'll see y'all on the next video.